everybody, welcome to RPM, Rock and Pop Mandolin, your destination for learning classic rock songs on this wonderful little 8-stringed instrument. My name is Mike DeJong, and I am here to take you on a journey through classic rock and pop songs that are normally played on other instruments for mandolin. Today we're looking at a more recent song than many of my other ones on this channel. We're looking at the Foo Fighters' Learn to Fly, a really cool song, and I'm primarily looking at the acoustic version of this song that Dave Grohl has done. And there's plenty of good examples of Dave Grohl playing this song on YouTube with an acoustic guitar. That's the version that we're going to be looking at in this lesson. But first, before we get into the lesson, I'd really like to thank all of you who have subscribed to this channel so far. Thank you very much for your support and all your kind comments, and even your suggestions for songs. I'll try to get to as many of them as I can. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that little red button, the subscriber button down there in the lower right corner of your screen. Really helps us to continue growing this channel. I'd also like to thank the people who have checked out my Patreon page so far. Thank you very much for your contributions and for considering supporting me financially. It doesn't cost much, just a couple of dollars to donate to this channel, and it really helps again for us to continue producing these videos at a high quality level. So now let's take a look at the Foo Fighters' Learn to Fly, a lesson for mandolin here on RPM. And we're checking out the Foo Fighters' Learn to Fly for mandolin, a really fun song to play and really easy. There's only basically 3 chords through most of the song. There's a couple of other chords during the chorus, but mostly it's these 3 chords. But the cool thing about the chords that Dave Grohl is playing on the acoustic version of this song is that they utilize some open strings on the guitar, which we can also kind of replicate here on the mandolin. Now, I'm not playing exactly the same chords that Dave Grohl plays on the acoustic or electric guitar for that matter, but I'll play some chords that are quite close and sound pretty cool when you play them together here on the mandolin. So what are those chords? Well, here's the pattern throughout most of the song. So what's that first chord that I'm playing? Well, that's a B5 chord. And really it only has the B note in it, the F sharp note in it, the B note in it, and the E in it, right? So how am I playing that here? Well, it's the 4th fret of the G string first. That's your root, that's your B note. Then the F sharp, which is the 4th fret right above it there on the D string. Then the 2nd fret on the A string, right? That gives you a B note again. So there's a couple of B notes there. And that last note, open here, that final open E, that one gives you that nice ringing sound that kind of replicates the guitar chord that Dave Grohl is doing in the original version of Learn to Fly. So hit that nice open chord, don't block it, and let that E ring out, and it gives you kind of a maybe a little bit of a different kind of voicing of this B5 chord, right? B5 with an E there at the top, all right? So that's the first chord, and the strumming pattern is pretty easy for this song. It's just up and down, right? And then the next chord that you're going to play in this song is an F sharp minor 7 chord on the mandolin. All right, and again, that's very similar to the F sharp chord that Dave Grohl is playing with the open strings on the guitar in the original version. So I'm playing this F sharp minor 7 here at the 6th fret of the G string right there. And then the F sharp note is here. It remains there from the earlier chord, right, on the 4th fret of the D string. And then from there, I'm just playing the other 2 strings open. So your A string and your E string are open, and it gives you again a nice sweet ringing chord that replicates the chords that Dave Grohl is playing. So once again, the first 2 chords, you got a B5 with an E in it there, and then you got a F sharp minor 7, and then finally just down to a simple E chord here at the bottom of the neck, right? Your basic E chord, 1st fret of the G string, 2nd fret of the D, 2nd fret of the A. Right there, that's it. And then the pattern, again, the strumming pattern is just like nice and easy. You can add a couple of ghost notes in there too that sound cool. What's a ghost note? Well, a ghost note is where you mute the strings and you just hear the clicking kind of sounds. In between your chord changes. You can put those ghost notes in. Right? And that's the whole song, basically. Well, most of the song. But finally, at the end of the verses, he does a... Right? Make my way back home and learn to fly. Right? So, right at the final part of the verses, he does a G to an A, and then back to that B chord again. So, make my way back home, learn to fly. Right? That's the end of the verses. So, the verses go like this. B, F sharp minor 7 to E. They run through that a few times, right? And after a few times, and the last time he goes like this, and another G to A. Right? And that's a beautiful little chord progression there that's so simple, but works really nicely over the vocal melody in the song. And the only other part in the song that you really have to worry about is a bridge, where Dave Grohl goes, fly away with me alone. Right? Well, that part starts off with that B chord again, and then goes, fly along with me, right? So he's going to the G chord next, fly along with me, to the D chord, I can't just make it alone, down to the E chord, right? So B, along with me alone, right? I try to make myself. So there he goes to the G, to the A, and then to the E again, all right? And then, my way alone. Right, he does that a couple times, G to A to E. Then the final time, G, A, and back to that B5 chord again. So that final part, that bridge part goes, along with me, I can't quite make it alone, right? Wanna make my life my own. Fly away with me, I can't just make it alone. So the ending of the song is really cool, but I'm going to play it a little bit differently here on the mandolin from what Dave Grohl does on the guitar. Dave is doing some really cool voicings on that B5 chord. In fact, he does different voicings when he plays the acoustic version than when he plays the electric version. But here, I can't really replicate those chords exactly, but I can give you a little bit, well, something close to it. So let's do something like this. So he stays on that B5 chord for a few beats. So you could do something like that, where you just B5 chord for a few beats, and then take that one finger off the A string, and just create a chord like that, where you have, you know, the fourth fret here on the G string, 4th fret on the D, so, and then down to the E chord at the end. You could do something like that at the end, or you could just go to that F sharp minor chord again, right? You could go, right? Just something like that, just utilizing the chords from the verses. It's up to you. Whatever ending you'd like to do on this song is up to you, and just be creative and have fun with it. But you won't be wrong, you'll just be playing your own version of this song. And that's the Foo Fighters' Learn to Fly, another really fun song to play on the mandolin with lots of open chords and some really sweet chord voicings for you to try on the mandolin that maybe you've never tried to play before. So hopefully these will be new chords that you can add to your chord palette, your repertoire of mandolin chords. Thanks once again for watching this video on RPM, Rock and Pop Mandolin, your destination for learning classic rock songs. We really appreciate your viewership and your patronage. Don't forget to check out our new Patreon page and maybe become a patron of Rock and Pop Mandolin and open up unlock some cool new lessons and other things on the Patreon page. Thanks very much for watching once again. My name is Mike DeJong, and this is RPM.